He spoke about Luke Littler and Luke Humphreys, and he said maybe they didn't deserve the MBEs right now.
Hello, welcome back to the Mission Darts podcast, episode 46. I'm joined as normal by Matthew Edgar. And Matt, we've got to say a big please subscribe. And the reason for that is because we've got a new show and you're going to need to be subscribed. You are not going to want to miss this. I'm going to get straight into it, Matt. Our new show, hence my background, is called Rate My Throw. Tell the viewers what they need to do.
Okay, well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say hello to you audio listeners who I know, because I've seen it, there is a Mission Darts podcast bingo card. And on that bingo card, there is one section that says Andy references something that the audio listeners have no idea what he's on about. Tick, you've just filled the box. You're on for the full house straight away, guys. Well done. However, rate my throw. We are calling out to you. This is your moment to come on the channel. And not only that, but have your throw assessed. Myself and Andy are going to be sitting down. We're going to be watching your throw. Now, the first thing I've got to point out, this is very, very important. This is not a coaching video. We are not going to be coaching you. We are going to be looking at your throw. We are going to be breaking it down and analyzing the throw. What makes it good? What's working? What isn't? What you're not going to get is the solution. So just bear that in mind. And as you guys are the podcast listeners, before we even put it out on the Mission channel, before we even put it out on Edgar TV, before we put it out on social media, we're giving you guys the opportunity to get in there first. There's over 2,000 of you listening to it right here on YouTube and more by your audio platform. So with that in mind, we want you guys to get in touch at YouTube at missiondarts.com. That is YouTube at missiondarts.com. And what we want from you is 15 darts, well, 30 in total, 15 darts from 2 different angles. Audio listeners, get that bingo card ready because it's coming again. So on your screen now for you YouTubers, this is what we want to see. You will give us a side-on shot. For audio listeners, that means a side-on, a full-body shot. So we see both feet in the stance and all the way up through to the head and enough so we can see the full extension of the arm and the balancing arm on the back there as well. We also need a shot from the front. This will be sort of the dartboard looking at you, again in full body, from the head down to the feet, showing everything with the arm coming out through to the board. And it needs to be filmed in landscape. So that is the phone turned sideways.
Can we make sure, Matt, that they know this needs to be video, not just a photo, as you can see there? We've shown a photo as a demonstration, but it needs to be in video format.
The videos will be sent into YouTube at missiondarts.com. From there, we will clip them together. So both of them are going to be playing at the same time. It'll be a nice thing. Me and Andy will then be analyzing your throws. Your throws will then be put on the main Mission YouTube channel. So if you're a little bit camera shy, if you don't want to be shown on the main Mission YouTube channel, this is not for you. But if you are a player at home, goes down your logo, just wants a bit of assessment, wants a bit of fun, you will be looking at featuring in. We are looking for up to 18 applicants. And obviously, we'll pick out the ones which are the most ones. But if anyone's out there wants to get involved, do send us a message. And this will be starting from the end of July, beginning of August. And we're hoping that this will run as a series like Rate My Hockey does, where we give you 8 or so episodes, have a bit of a break. Series 2, have a bit of a break. Because when you make new content, I mean, look at the start of Rate My Hockey. It's nothing like it is now. But if we continue that all the way through, we'd never have time to review, analyze, and make it better. So you guys are the guinea pigs here on the podcast. Over to you.
Yeah, and we're getting this out to you first, as Matt said. So as we do with new products, as we do with everything, if you're a podcast listener, that's why I say please get subscribed, because you get to hear about stuff like this first. The one tech thing that I should say is you aren't simply going to be able to send a 2-minute video via an email. because it'll be the format will be too large. So you need to figure that out, a way to send it to us. You can use file sharing, something like WeTransfer, or you can there's various different ways. You can host it somewhere yourself. We need you to sort that bit out so that you send me an email with your name and a link to that video, so we can, because that video, the one that you've shot, is the one that we're going to use. So the higher the quality, the better.
The higher the quality, the more chance we're going to use it as well.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to be able to show things where it's very jittery or not very smooth as in footage. The better the quality of the video, the more we can do. And don't think more is better. No. We're only going to use 12 to 15 darts. It's going to be used because we're going to be having slow motion. We're looking for consistencies and inconsistencies. We'll be able to see that within 9 darts, a consistent issue or an inconsistent. So 15 darts is plenty.
Matt, do you want to put those pictures up on the screen just one more time, just to show the viewer? There you go, a front angle camera and a side. Now, you might want to do that on a tripod, or you might want to get somebody to hold the camera for you as you're videoing that. But those are the 2 angles we need, 15 darts from each. Find a way to send me that, and you could be featured on YouTube very soon. So that's our exciting news for the week, Matt.
Yeah, and this comes on the back of our creative process. You know, we're having regular meetings right now so that we can bring you the most exciting, original, and sort of informative, but entertaining videos possible. We're getting our heads down and we're knuckling into some content. And do you know what? I've also got to say, as listeners to the podcast, we have had some amazing suggestions from our viewers about content. Now, the thing is, you give us these great ideas, and you may feel like we're not using them, but they kind of are, because what you end up doing is you plant the seed, and then we go, do you know what? There's a lot of content here we could do, but it doesn't work in the way it's presented. But if we make those changes, we can make it into something that, because there's a lot that goes into a video. It's not just turn up, press play, put it on autofocus, and off we go.
That's a perfect link, Matt, into me to mention a few comments this week, because one of them is exactly that you've been saying. Something that's just a comment. It's just a simple comment in a video, and we spent 20 to 30 minutes debating how we could actually make this work, if we could make it work, whether we needed to tweak it. So that's how serious we take the comments from our listeners. This is from the Zodiac, and he says, my idea for a future series of Rate My Hockey: blind scoring, where Matt and Andy don't share their scores at any time, but instead reveal them to one another at the end. This will stop potential influence, as Andy might influence Matt or Matt might influence Andy, etc., etc. Fantastic idea. We've talked it through. Doesn't quite work in that format, but certainly something like that may well feature in the future. And these are the sort of things that we want, Matt, isn't it? The more of this, the better. Keep coming through. Now then, Matt mentioned bingo, you may recall, a little bit ago. And that's brought me to Drip SA, who has said, listening to our podcast, he plays bingo. And while he's playing bingo, he takes a shot of vodka every time Andy makes a comparison to golf. Matt makes a comparison to wrestling or mentions wrestling. Something happens and we have to apologize, like the fire alarm, the window cleaner, etc. Andy plays Matt's weekly games but can't answer the questions. Can you imagine all these vodkas? Andy makes a musical reference that goes over Matt's head. Andy receives a package from Amazon. Or the fire alarm goes off. And he said, so he's given himself a shot for each of these. And I'm thinking he's having a great time listening to the podcast on that basis, Matt.
I mean, it's a great game. But I mean, before we get into responding to that, I just want to say sorry for the birds tweeting outside my window. It's making an awful noise. Yeah. And it's really hot in here. So I apologize if you're getting any noise off the road. I've had to turn my camera, go back again. So sorry about that. But yeah, I've had to
hear them then.
Yeah, I've pointed it out now. You'll never unhear it. It's like the train, isn't it? But I've also got to say I'm sorry for have to turn my camera as well because I've got a wrestling belt in the back. It was glaring a little bit off the light because I'm using my spotlight tonight. We're filming this at night time or later at night, so I've had to put my look.
Hence,
I've
if
got
you
to put
see
my
Andy
light.
with a glass of wine, it's not 9 a.m. in the morning. It hasn't got to that yet, Matt. But I've got a great. Oh, sorry, go on. I was interrupting you there.
It glares off of the Hulk Hogan wrestling belt, which also goes with the Hulk Hogan wrestling shirt and the Shawn Michaels wrestling shirt, who was one of my favorite wrestlers back in the day. His match with Chris Jericho was incredible. And I'll make no apologies for that. No apologies whatsoever. So
there you go.
I think I've just killed him.
Yeah, you killed him with the vodka shots. Fonz from Belgium has sent us an email, Matt, and this is for you because it's PDC related, and you're the expert on this. So he says, "Hi, love the podcast all the way from Belgium, and have a question. Sometimes colourful surrounds are used at PDC tournaments. For example, a light blue one was seen as the World Championships. The material used also looks very different from the surrounds that are for sale in stores. Any idea what the PDC uses and why?"
Okay, so most of the time they're exactly the same. It's just like the finish that's on them. Sometimes they put almost like a felt on them. I know Ladbrokes used to do that, the red ones. They used to do that quite a lot. But again, they then went to like the rubber ones as well. It does make a big difference. So, I mean, here's a bit of insight for you. When I first played a TV game, it was at the old Reebok Stadium in Bolton, their main stage against Colin Osborne, 2013. That was my first, I played the UK Open a few years before that, but it weren't on board one. And I got my opportunity on board one against Colin Osborne. Red background. So the backstage is red. On the surround was red. So the red surround blends into the background of this massive stage, which makes the board feel really small.
Right.
Because everything just blurs into red, and then you've got this little color thing in the middle. So it makes everything feel small. So I didn't enjoy that bit. It takes a bit of getting used to. So because of that moment, you know me, I was one of those that eked out every single percentage I possibly could because I'm not the best player in the world. So for me to compete with the best players in the world, I had to think of everything. Now, when I went to Alexandra Palace and you have a walk round and I looked at the stage, he's right, it was blue. It's a blue surround. And you go backstage and there's 8 practice boards, 4 matches in a session. So there's a board for everybody if you want it. Basically, if you want to board by yourself, you got to board by yourself, no problem. So I've gone in there and I've looked at the boards. 7 of them had black surrounds on them. 1 of them had blue. And I insisted that I had that board because it had a blue surround on it.
Get used to it.
Yeah, I wanted to get my eyes to get used to it.
Love that.
And then there's no surprise that I then went and set the record for the finishing percentage at the World Championship.
I thought you were going to say you went on stage and they changed the surround. That'd just be about right. But yeah, no. Is there a why to it then? Is it to do with the sponsors? Is that where the color tends to be?
I think some of it, this color comes down to that. I think the finish of it sometimes comes down to the light setup at the time as well. I've spoken about this before. The lighting on the main stages is terrible. You'd hate it.
Yeah, you have. Yeah. It's for the TV. Dark. It's not for you. Yeah.
It's dark.
Yeah.
It is dark. And with that, you don't want any reflection. Any form of reflection will be off. And they'll do that. They'll go through the framing. They'll go through it over and over again for every shot. Make sure there's no glare, no rebound, no revert, anything like that. So if you go with like a glossy finish, you'll get any form of reflection. And that's not good, 1, for the player, but 2, for the camera stakes as well. So, yeah, they do vary from time to time. And it does matter on the eye, because it makes the board feel small.
Yeah. Interesting. Right, I got some more questions for you this week. It's quite some really, really good questions this week. And we get great questions every week. So thank you, guys.
Before we move on.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go on.
Right. My board here.
Okay.
You love it.
I love it.
You think it's one of the best throws in the world?
Agreed. Probably because I know the height and the length's right.
But how much of that is maybe down to the fact that white backdrop with black, contrasting colors. If you do white with a black outline, Stands out, doesn't it? If you're writing any font and you go white way back out, it stands out. The board stands out. It feels big.
So I'm going to give you something now. And yes, it's brilliant. It's a great setup, and it is probably the best throw I've ever thrown. I haven't thrown in it that long, but I hit more 180s in 10 minutes than I think I've ever hit. I've got a theory. Small room, low ceiling,
Yep.
no air movement. There's no, the windows were shut. There's no air. So, and the reason I've just thought this, I went somewhere the other day, massive room, right? Huge room, dartboard in the middle, height and length perfect. My darts were going in weird. I was like, am I throwing it differently? So I just don't, I'm not feeling it at all. Big high ceiling, like ceiling 20, 30 foot high.
Sorry about the motorbike.
Yeah. And I thought, is there something in this? Is it because Matt's room's small and there's no air movement? And I don't really know. Any thoughts?
There's a reason we have throw perception in the original rate mail.
Yeah,
That's the reason. Because sometimes you'll go in to a venue. Oh, I'm going to here's one I want to hear about, guys. I want to hear about the craziest venue you played in. Now, we used to have a guy called Apple, quite tall. And there's a venue, and I believe it's in a village nearby me called Stockton. And we used to have, on a Monday night, 4:01, double start, double finish. The Southern League. Steve Beaton, Trina Gulliver, myself, Ted Everts, legends of the league. Maybe not quite, Steve Beaton, but yeah, we're legends of that league. I've won it multiple times. And he couldn't throw at the top end of the board because it had a beam across it. And he used to throw his darts with a bit of a loop.
Yes.
So he used to catch the beam. So he used to have to start on the low doubles when we played at that venue. And it was one of those sort of situations where if he left tops, right, what he used to do is he used to get a stool and used to put his standing leg on the stool so it'd lower him down so he could throw the dart.
Brilliant.
So I've probably not answered your question there. That's a complete sidebar. Now, sidebars are great. I'm trying to teach Andy quite a lot at the moment about like broadcast and things. Right, sidebars are great if you've then got a segue to bring you back to the original question. But I forgot the original question. So this is a great education in how not to sidebar because I can't segue back in.
I don't even know how we started it now.
But we've got Apple in the beam in Stockton now.
Yeah. But well, let's talk more about that because there was a place I used to play in the Clitheroe Settle League that had a fireplace directly. The only place to come at the dartboard was above the fireplace. A fireplace, a coal fire that was always lit because there was no other heating, no radiators. There's the only heating in the pub. So there's a coal fire going, and the dartboard is literally above it. And I swear to God, the tiles in front, like you have in front of a coal fire, tiles, a guy's darts come out the board, hit the tile, gone in the fire. Honestly, that's a true story.
I've got a true story for you. You're like, I'm gonna own up here. We played. Do you remember the CRU?
Yeah.
CRU Dart Championships. You'd go around all the pubs in your area that were CRU clubs. You'd go along Saturday night, I believe it was. And we played in Earthlimber at Christmas, right? And we've all gone dressed as Santa, right? Because we're all dressed as Santa, you see where this story's going. You couldn't quite work out who was who. I played 3 of the matches. I just changed my shoes.
Brilliant. Steve, you're on. Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
Because I can change my throw very slightly, can't I? To make it look good. You'd see me just tinker with throws and darts and things.
You could have used anybody's darts as well. You could have used 3 different darts if you wanted.
So all we did was we swapped trainers. So like, you weren't like, hang on a minute. So and I went and played the first 3 matches with 3.
And while you're on that, I know a lot of people from the pod have been and watched the video from Monday about your throw and us changing your flights. If you haven't seen that yet, it's absolutely flying. People are loving that video. Please go and see when Matt had a mini precision of his flights and comment on it, which you think were best for him, because he hit some phenomenal scores with some of the smallest flights you've ever seen. So you need to go and check out the video on the main channel of Matt tinkering with his stem flight setup. Really good
I've
video.
got another one to own up to while we're owning up to things. I'm gonna hold my hands up to one more.
Go on.
And then I want you to do it here, so I don't feel so bad.
Oh, all right.
And
Okay.
guys, just join. This is confession hour here on the podcast. Well, confession 5 minutes. If you've got something you want to confess that you've done on the dartboard, now is the time. Get it off your chest. Feel good about yourself. Be free of the silliness that we have produced. Because I'm going to tell you one now, right? So I used to be mad for trophies. I used to be mad for trophies. And every year, I would always want to go to presentation night and leave with loads of trophies. And we used to have a trophy for the most tons hit in a season. So, but I kept winning a lot of my games like 2-0, so I didn't get a lot of opportunity. So what I would do is I'd go 1-0 up, I'd hit loads of tons, and then I was a right idiot about this. I wouldn't like pretend to be missing, like, oh, I just can't hit the double. I'd just be like, bust. Like if I wanted 20, I wouldn't be going double 10. I'd be like 20, bust. I'd lose the leg, and then I'd play the last leg to get the tons.
Get some more tons.
Yeah. And then I won the tons trophy by about like 70 tons clear of everybody. And everyone was like, but it's not fair because he's throwing legs to get them in. They should be done on an average of legs done. And I'm like, hey, look at me.
Yeah. Confession time. Definitely. I can confess to almost the same thing. Highest checkout in the league won 100 quid. And I found out the highest checkout was 164. So I'm playing best of 5 and every leg I left 170. like I got 189 left, just 19. Oh God, I don't know what happened there. trying to get the 100 quid.
I've got another one for you then. One more, last one. I'm not going to keep going on these. I'm not going to keep going. So we used to play a checkout game. So you'd get there at the start of the night and you'd go, right, 102. And I'd be practicing with people that, local league. They're not great players. They just enjoy game darts. And what you'd do is you'd throw for the 102. If you didn't leave a double, you put 50 pence in the jar, right? And whoever took the 102 took the 50 pences. So you'll start off putting 50 pence in. So there's like 3 or 4 years, like 2 quid in there, but it can build up. And there'd be times I'd go treble 20, single 10. I'd look at the pot. It's like, nah, not yet. Let it build up a bit. Let it build up. And then when it had built up to like 5-6 quid, I'd be like, yeah, now we'll take it. We'll have that fiver. Like,
very good. Very good. Right, back to the comments and some questions for you.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, Sammy E 1993. I'm guessing that was when he was born, a lot younger than me. If Phil Taylor looked like Gerwyn Price, do you think he would have won Sports Personality of the Year?
That's following on from the question of last week, isn't it? Where I said to you, draw me that.
We were talking about MBEs and everything else.
Do you know what? Obviously, we don't know for a fact. This is purely an opinion, but my opinion is yes, he would have been Sports Personality of the Year.
Me too, because they'd look like an athlete and they'd have gone, yeah, now's the time. Good answer. I like that. A little bit of advice from you, please, for Wayne Potts. I'm currently playing darts regularly every week, but when I play, I'm getting bored and I'm losing focus. Any tips on how to keep or regain focus after you've lost it?
Oh, it's a tough question to answer because my initial reaction was to ask further questions. And that what I don't like doing is giving advice where it could be more damaging than good, because my initial reaction was to ask a follow-up question, and then depending on the answer to that would be another follow-up question. I wouldn't want to answer it because
I was thinking, is he maybe getting bored because he's not practicing properly? Is he like, do you know what I mean? Just throwing at 20s all the time. Yeah, I'm bored now. When we talk about practice with purpose, maybe it's that.
But notice how your answer begins and ends with maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a guess. And that's the thing. Like anything we say, you'll be a get that sort of thing is to get the answer to that truly. There's a backwards and forwards there of about 4 or 5 questions where you've asked that, then I ask, then you, and then we sort of go back and forth. Because my initial thought would be, what's the level you're playing at? Because if we take a look at things like the sports development continuum, foundation, participation, performance, and excellence. Are you potentially a performance-based player playing in a participation? So in order, like experience, people talk about experience. Oh, going on the world championship stage and gaining experience. No. Going on the world championship stage and performing in the criteria of the sports development continuum is the mind and the body being engaged. So, for example, if I go to the world championship, which is sports development continuum at the top, excellence, and I go there and go, it's my debut. I'm going to go there and enjoy it. Whatever happens, happens. I'm going to try and embrace the crowd. I'm going to try and embrace the moment. That's participation, not performance, not excellence. So I go there with a participation mindset to do an excellence performance. That's not gaining experience. However, if the next year I go there and I go, right, I've got a good draw here, I've got that, my seed's struggling, I could get a bit of a run going here at the World Championship, I'm going to go for it. I don't have excellence experience in an excellence environment. I've got participation experience in an excellence environment. So what happens is that's new and I'm going to get nervous, because I'm trying to produce something somewhere I've never produced it before. Now, just because I've been there, body, my mind hasn't been there in the same capacity of which it was there before. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that what level you're playing at is also what you're approaching it as. Hopefully that gives you a bit of an answer, but to give you a direct answer, it's very hard to do.
I think that was a pretty good answer, Matt. That was Matt on a rant there. I like that one. That was nice. That was nice. But you said maybe twice. So I was going to say, for a vodka shot, maybe I don't really want to know how your garden grows. What's the song?
I'm really sorry for Andy's terrible references.
For a vodka shot, that was Oasis, Live Forever. Anyway, right, one more.
He's literally going to be sat there now.
I'm not going to sit there going, maybe. I'm not going to try and do Liam Gallagher, am I? Right, so anyway, there you go. We're getting all these vodka shots in. The guy's absolutely wasted listening to this podcast. We're only 26 minutes in.
His missus is going to come back from work and be like, well, what's going on?
Yeah, what's going on? Now, I love this, and we've done a comment of the week last week, so I'm not going to do comment of the week this week, but I love this comment.
Oh, before you do that, I've been in today and I've seen the goodies that comment of the week got. You're a generous man.
I know, and I do get thanked for the. I don't like to say it on the podcast what I send out, because I send different stuff every time, but always I get a follow-up email going, wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
We're talking like 3 figures worth of value of stuff here. This isn't just you're sending out 5 quid's worth of bits. You're serious.
No, this is serious stuff. Yeah, we don't mess about.
Do you know what I like about this? When I first joined Mission, I had a sit down with Andy, I had a sit down with the board, and there was a conversation about giveaways and things like that. And I said, absolutely not. I hate giveaways. I want to give away to the people who are here because they want to be. And I want to reward the people that make us who we are. I don't want to go, let's do a giveaway when we hit 2,000 followers, because that devalues all you people that have been here that get us to this point. That's the same. We don't care about you no more because you're here. We want the new people. And what I like about this is those people that are commenting and putting these great interactions in, they're getting proper rewarded here, because that's not, like I say, it's not just £10 worth of stuff. We have 3 figures worth of prizes. I was looking at it thinking, I want this bundle. Yeah, I want it.
We can see the people coming back week after week, listening to the podcast, coming back week after week, watching the YouTube channel and the videos that we make. We're so thankful for you. We can't do this without you. And the fact that you're so loyal and keep coming back and keep listening every week, it means everything to us. So you're absolutely right. We're not here to go, here's a giveaway. We want followers. We want to reward the people that are here all the time. And we've still got people in the club. Nice ambience. We've still got people in the club that have watched and listened to every episode. I think that's amazing. We're coming up to almost a year of doing the podcast. Who'd have thought we'd have ever got there with the podcast, but we are doing. So thank you, guys. And another great comment from, and by the way, last week's comment of the week was from a listener in Tanzania. I had no idea. Fantastic. How impressive is that we're being listened to in Tanzania? Amazing. So this has come from Robert Ragsdale. And I love this comment because we talk about a lot of stuff and we don't always have the answers, or we might not have the right opinion. And this just answers something for me. This relates back to a video about us talking about in America and Asia, soft tip boards and all the fancy flashing lights and all that sort of stuff. And he's saying in Asia, or even here in America, so he's obviously American, there's no crowds. When they have a dart tournament, nobody goes to watch. It's literally you against me on a soft tip board, and there's nobody there watching. So his point is the animation helps because there's no crowd. So it adds some volume and some interaction. And otherwise, you're just playing in a room with no sound because there's no people talking. There's nobody watching. You hit a 180, 180, you fist bump each other and you feel like you're playing in front of people. And I thought, I've never thought of it that way. Because they don't get the crowds like we do. They go, oh, go on, Matt, another ton. Go on, Andy, 26. They don't get that. They've got a bit of interaction from the machine and it helps. So he's saying it actually helps. The board might be the only applause you get in the entire evening. What a great point.
Yeah.
I've never even considered that, had you?
No.
Absolutely brilliant.
Well, while you're reading out comments, I've got a comment myself. I'm going to go the opposite way because this absolute bog brush put a comment in the other day. And I had to laugh at this, right? So it's the video about, are you pulling darts to the left?
Okay. Yep.
The transition. Simple tip. Throw out to the board, collect, rather than loop and hook. That might be a reason. We're not saying it is the reason. We're saying it could be a reason. Just have a look if it is. Guy puts in the comment for that. And there's loads of people going, oh, I didn't even think of that. And it's helped me massively. Such a simple tip. So good. And then there's a guy that's in the comments, but I don't do this. Well, the video's not for you, is it, you absolute bog brush? Flush on by. Like,
we always say that at the start. These videos aren't for everybody. It's not rule of thumb. It's not one size fits. It's not one video fits all.
You're sorry, mate. We'll just make all the content for you.
He's just watched the entire video and gone, that's not me. So I'm going to comment, that's not for me, that. It's not for him, Matt. Matt, can we make a video for him?
It's one of those things, isn't it? There was a comedian, I can't remember who it was, but he spoke about that sort of mentality of people. And he goes, why do people do it online? Like, they'll go to something, I'm not interested in this. And it's like, well, why are you interacting with it? And he goes, back in the day, did these people go to Tesco? Remember, because you used to have the advertisement board in Tesco's, and like, do you remember them days? You pay 30 pence, and they'd stick it on the notice board.
Put your card up, yeah. I had one, DJ Tintin, weddings, funerals, parties.
He goes, did these people turn up and ring up and be like, but I don't want a bouncy castle, like. It's so true. And you don't realize until you get so deep into this world, like how weird some of the comments are. Because even if I go to a restaurant, it is one for you. I know you're the opposite to me. If I go to a restaurant, right, and I eat something, or I go out for a meal, or I have a hotel, or I have a bad experience somewhere, all I do is go, okay, I won't go back there again.
Yeah.
It's mad how many people complain about things now, isn't it? Like,
I've got.
You're one. You'll be like, Belvedere. I do not like the way this is done, Belvedere.
That's a great name. I've got one for you this week. Talking to a guy. He's just been down London, done the whole London thing, and his missus wanted to go to I think it's called the Langdale. I want to say the Langdale. Anyway, I'll probably get corrected in the comments. Fancy posh hotel, like the Ritz, that kind of thing. So he's gone to the bar. Single gin and tonic. How much?
Oh, in London, 12 quid.
£19.80. Single gin and tonic. And then a 15% service charge on top. He went, oh, you having a laugh? You've only passed it to me. They were sat at the bar. They're sat at the bar. He's made a gin and tonic, given it him, and they've chucked 15% on top. I thought that was brilliant. £19.80.
I think we may have discussed this before. Certainly when I was going to Vegas, because I said traditionally I'm not a great tipper.
No.
I'm not because the cost of that person being there to pass you that drink has already been factored into the cost of the purchase price. I will pay whatever you ask. If you want £3 for that can, I will make a decision. Do I want the can? Yeah, I'll have £3.
Yeah.
But don't charge me £2 and expect I'm going to give you an extra one.
I think we're going to upset our American viewers with this because I know they've got in the comments before their minimum. Yeah, their minimum wage for waitressing or bar work is half what ours is. So they rely on tips to top up their wage. It's a different culture, very different to ours. But certainly, we're talking about the UK here. So £20 for a gin and tonic is ridiculous. I don't care where you are. But to then add £3 on for the barman passing it to you is like, are you joking? Like,
do you know what? I'm going to, while we're staying on this one, and it's confessions, I'm going to confess about something. Because when I was in Vegas, I want to get your opinion on this. And I know there's a lot of American listeners who probably hate what I did here. But so I'm interested to know if you think I was valid in this, because they even questioned me at the time. So it was in Vegas. We had 2 hours at golf, the driving range. We had some drinks. Bill came. It was about $160. But when I say the bill came, I'll get to. So our timer's finished. We're at the end. We've come out of the booth and we're waiting to pay. We waited for about 15 minutes, right? I then called over a different waitress and says, look, we're trying to leave. We want to pay so we can go. And she goes, oh, where's your waitress? I'm like, I don't know. We've been waiting 15 minutes. We haven't even seen her. She's not come out. Oh, she's off at the moment. I'm like, okay. So she went and then got us a receipt. And she goes, oh, this is from your waitress. This is the receipt that she's got. So this is your total here. And this is where you write the tip. And you have to sign the card at the end. And I just put a line through the tip and signed it. Because I've just stood there for 15 minutes. Why am I? That's not the service I expect to pay extra for. And she even then, when I crossed it through, she went, is everything all right? And then I was like, yeah, it's fine. Yeah. She goes, oh, you've just crossed out the tip. I said, well, we just stood there for 15 minutes. And she had the audacity to ask me why I weren't giving a tip. But then, like I say, I speak to a lot of people in America, and like I say, some people say in America, they don't even pay. Or some restaurants, like high-end restaurants, they say the waitresses actually pay the restaurant to work there, is the rumors I've heard. Because they pay to get they want the tips, because the tips that the clientele will pay there. So I was like, was I in the right or was I in the wrong, or should it have been a lower one, or like know?
I don't know. I can't say I know the answer to the question, because certainly if that was in the UK, there's no way I'd be leaving a tip, because you've had awful service. They've not looked after you, and that's what the tip is for, the service. So. Yeah, it feels right what you did, to be honest. I don't know. Our American viewers will probably let us know in the comments. But yeah, interesting.
The other waitress, the other lady questioned me on that. So yeah, it'd be interesting. And obviously, do let us know. I know what I love, right? What I love, and it's probably too late now to be mentioning this. I love reading those comments from the viewer who watches along either with a notepad and makes the notes, and then puts their answer in of everything. Like, oh yeah, this, and they paragraph it out. Because I love going through and like all our call outs to things, like, and they've answered it all. I love reading those.
Brilliant. Right, Matt, I've got a game for you.
Yeah, I thought we should talk some darts. Yeah,
we normally do it at the end. I've got a game for you, and I think you tried this with me a few weeks ago, but I've taken it up a level. And we're going to give the viewers at home time to answer. And we're going to do dart players' nicknames.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the player's name. You're going to give me his or her nickname. All right. Okay. Now, I'm not going to do Phil Taylor. I'm not going to do Adrian Lewis. Yeah. So these are going to be upper level.
Okay.
But I'm still expecting you to I don't think you'll get them all, but you'll
Okay.
probably get that. Now, these were ones that I thought I probably wouldn't have known.
Right, can we
I
just
might
get on with
go
number
one.
one?
So,
Do you think you've
play
introed
along
it
at
already?
home. Can you give a pause after I ask the question, maybe for a
Yeah.
couple of seconds while people at home? Okay. Question number one. Player's nickname for Danny Baggish.
Well, that's easy. Good friend of mine, the gambler.
Correct.
Spent a lot of time with him over during Ali Pally. We practiced together a lot, and then he lived not far away. Good guy, great guy. He's having a tough time at the minute.
Question number two. Lorraine Winstanley.
Lorraine Winstanley. I should know this one because I commentated on her not long ago. Does she actually have a nickname?
She does.
Lorraine Winstanley.
She does.
I don't know. I don't know actually.
A clue might be, I think it's the same as Wes Newton's.
The Warrior.
Yes. Lorraine Winstanley is the Warrior. Okay,
I
so
don't
that
think
was
she
one.
uses that anymore.
I didn't think you'd get that.
I don't think she uses that.
You're going to love this one. Those that have been listening to the podcast for a while. Jan Decker.
Which we're going for the old one of Mr. Coat.
Yeah,
and double.
Double Decker. Yeah, Double Decker. Very good. Max Hop.
Oh, that's easy. He is the maximizer.
He is. Christian Kist.
Oh, these aren't even hard. I've got a good story about this, actually. So I played the lipstick, Christian Kist, right?
Oh, very good. Yeah.
I played him in the quarterfinals in Barcelona, Spanish Open, right? And I'm fuming. I've missed match darts. I've lost quarterfinals, fuming. And I've gone off. And this is when you know you don't care as much as well. When like you walk out of a venue and like, okay, I lost. I was fuming. I was like, I've lost. How have I lost to him? And then we're sat in a restaurant and I'm still stewing on it. And he walks past about 30 minutes later. And I've gone. And so he's walked past. Oh, you're here. You must have got beat then. Oh, you must have been. I'm off again. Like I'm like, what am I doing? Like, and then and we had a bit of a backwards and forwards banter. It was 90% me. I'll own that one. You know, I was probably a bit of an idiot. And then I said to him, I went, "I'll never lose to you ever again," like this sort of thing. And I played him the next day in the semi-final, didn't I? I was like, oh, God. Day 2 semi-final, beat him 4-0. Oh, shove that! Hey. I'd never lose to you again.
Very good. Very good. All right, then. I've got 4 more. Ron Moulenkamp.
He's the bomb. Tick, tick, boom.
He is the bomb. You're finding this way. I thought these were tricky. I was going to go a stage further to like players that didn't even have a card. And I thought, no, that's taking the mick.
Been on the tour for 11 years.
Yeah, you probably would have got. So
these
2 years are going to be easy.
That.
These 2 are going to be easy. William O'Connor.
Oh, the Magpie.
Darren Young.
He is Big Daddy.
He is. And then the last one, I'm going to give you the nickname. You give me the player. The Deadly Rose.
Oh, that's John Michael.
It is. So the only one I caught you out on was Lorraine Winstanley, the only female in the lineup.
Yeah, I don't think she used it. Yeah, that is one of that sort of. You got to remember, like I say, 11 years on the tour as a player, 2 years as commentator. Yeah. Like
you're playing along at home. How many did you get?
I'm around it all the time. Like that's the sort of game I can nail. Like
okay, all right.
I'm gonna put something in here just because I think we need to comment on this. I know a lot of the viewers are probably expecting this, and they probably didn't expect it to come this late. I just want to touch very briefly on something that's gone on in the world of darts this past week. Interactions between Luke Littler, Dennis Priestley. I'm going to have my opinion on this from a different angle that's not been said before. So the angle was Dennis Priestley did an interview. If you've not seen it already, he spoke about Luke Littler and Luke Humphreys, and he said maybe they didn't deserve the MBEs right now. Again, as you know, last week, I don't understand that system.
And
So
I didn't think they
I can't add
was
too much
using.
to it.
Yeah.
But what I will say is Luke Littler reacted to this by saying that he's done more in 12 months of darts than Dennis ever has, which I found very surprising because Dennis was part of the original breakaway from the BDO that risked his livelihood to form the PDC. But that's not the point I want to make, because value can be debated. It's not something that can be fully evidenced. It's something that is opinionated in a way, because you can't understand the impact of Luke. You can't understand the impact of Dennis completely, because everyone's got different.
Well, I can just say without Dennis, there is no Luke Littler. There's no PDC World Championship right now. So, Luke, how about thinking about that? Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, that's not the point I want to make, because again, I think in that world of opinions, you've got to be quite careful for the exact same reason I'm about to reference. I think Dennis was misquoted in those headlines, which made Luke react. I think this is a classic case of not clickbaiting, but selective use of words, because how it came across, right? And this is where you've got to be careful to not just look. So when it came across, it said Luke Littler and Luke Humphries let down their country. Next bit, separate air quote. So that was one air quote. The second air quote says they don't deserve MBEs. So if you read that without looking where the air quotes are, you look at it and go, because they lost in the World Cup, they don't deserve the MBEs. That's how it read. So because I saw the air quotes, I was like, I now need to go back to the original source. I don't want Dave Richards, who's the writer for this article, telling me what was said. I have to watch it. So you go back and you watch that thing. And it was two separate conversations that have been presented as if he said they've let the country down. They didn't perform, and because of that, they don't deserve MBEs. That's not what was said. He questioned it in the same way, not the same way we did, because we openly said we don't understand it. But he said maybe it's too early because they've only won one world championship apiece. Luke's only in his second year of his professional career. So he questioned whether that was something that jumped in too early. But obviously, that's, again, I don't know who makes the decision on MBEs. I don't understand the system. But I think Dennis was very harshly treated in that exchange where he's been so heavily misquoted purely for the benefit of clicks. Because Dennis is a great guy. He wouldn't have said that.
He is a great guy. I've met him several times. He's a wonderful guy and an ambassador for the sport. And I think almost listening and reading to it, you can go down one rabbit hole or the other. You can absolutely become a Luke Littler hater and go, the guy's got no respect, typical of a teenager these days, no respect for somebody older, doesn't understand what Dennis Priestley did for the... On and on and on you can go. Or you can go down the other rabbit hole. Well, hang on a minute. Dennis was probably misquoted, as you say. Luke's might have even been misquoted, or Luke's responding to the misquote. If you sat them down in a room together now, they'd probably be hugging, going, I didn't mean that, and I didn't mean that, and this is ridiculous. What is, and that is the world that we live in now.
Luke's response was on social media, so it was direct from his social media account. It wasn't a misquote on Luke.
Are we going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he's 18 years old as well, Matt? Because you and I said some pretty crazy things when we were 18. He's not 38. Had Luke Humphries said it, I think we'd be having a different conversation.
Luke Humphries did react. He did respond. And Luke Humphries responded by saying, I'm disappointed by the comments of one of my former pros.
Yeah.
And that's different. I mean, but to be fair, we all got head streak. I mean, how many times have I, right, bugger off, Andy, I'm off. I'm quitting. We've all...
And we both know enough players. If it had been Peter Manley or somebody that you thought, he's quite outspoken anyway. I'm not so... Kevin, you're a good friend of Kevin's. In his day, Kevin would have said a lot worse than that and got away with it. So, but for Dennis, that doesn't sound like Dennis to me. The guy's an absolute legend and ambassador of the sport and one of the nicest people I've ever met in darts. So, I'm glad you mentioned it.
If there's one thing to take away from this, if you read something look deeper. Don't just take it. I mean, I've been misquoted many times on many things, so I get it. And maybe because I've experienced it, that's how I can look and spot the signs where someone will take a little bit of what you've said and ignore the context, and they'll try and blow it up off the back of that. It happens to me all the time, regular basis. So what I'd say is just read the headline and then come away from the article, try and find the original source and hear everything around it, because the context can change everything. The environment of which you say it can change everything. And like I said, I feel a little bit harsh for Dennis on this one, just because they used his quote about the World Cup in the headline as well, which just makes people who are lazy and don't want to look any deeper go, oh, he's saying because they lost in the World Cup that they don't deserve it. No, he didn't say that at all. There was about 10 minutes apart, those two conversations. You know, they weren't linked, but it presented in a linked way. And it was so harsh on Dennis, who's done a lot for the game.
Yes. I've got one more topic for you, Matt, that I'd like you to. It's not really a question. Well, it is a question, but it's a bit of fun. And our viewers can get involved in this in the comments, and our listeners as well. I want you to cast your mind back. You've watched, played, commented on darts for what? 15 years? How long? Longer? 20? When did you start playing? You've been involved in darts a long time.
Professionally, about 2011, so 14 years in terms of professional state. But before that, like county stuff like that. Yeah.
So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and allow you to comment on the last 14 years. And I'm obviously a lot older. I can comment a bit further back. My question is this: what is your biggest what if in darts? So what's the moment that you thought, if that had have happened differently, it would have changed the world of darts?
Personally or worldwide?
No, worldwide. So if I give you mine, I've got a few, but if I give you one to kick off, what if Mike Gregory doesn't miss 4 darts at a double and beats Phil Taylor to become world champion and probably goes on to be a millionaire, as opposed to ends up going bankrupt and having not a pound in the bank? There's my what if moment. What if he beats Phil instead of losing to him? So have you got any of those moments over the years you've been watching it?
No, what I'll say is I'm going to debate your reasoning. Of course I am. I never want to agree with you. Your reasoning for that was to benefit the lifestyle of Mike Gregory. How would that have impacted darts if Mike Gregory is a millionaire?
No, it's not about impact. No, it's not about. It can be anything. It can be anything. It can be personal. You know, what if somebody does something? What happens? Does it impact the world of darts? Does it impact them? You know, you could say, what if Phil Taylor never won a world title? You can say anything you want, Matt. It's an open floor. It's a what if something happened different to what it actually happened. So I'll give you time to have a think, and I'll give you another one. What if Michael van Gerwen hits that double 12 for back-to-back 9 darters? Does he then get called the greatest player of all time? Because it's something Phil never did.
I think you get the moment, but I don't think the moment makes the player any bigger than he is.
Okay.
I mean, there's loads of... If we're talking about things that will heavily change the course of an individual's career, what if Joe Cullen hit the double 16 to win the Premier League?
That was another of mine. But
if we're talking about the biggest impact on the world of darts, what if Andy Fordham completed the pay-per-view game against Phil Taylor? Would we have... And what if he beat Phil Taylor? Could that have opened the door for more pay-per-view? Where in the end, that was kind of like the end of pay-per-view darts.
Was there one more? Taylor and Barney, maybe?
Taylor Barney was before that.
Yeah. Okay.
In the worst format.
Good moment. Exactly an answer that I'm looking for. Something I hadn't even thought of. Something I
like the answers that change the course of darts, that would really make a difference to things rather than making the difference to an individual, because you could find everyone's story. They'll tell you one game that if they could win that one instead would have made a massive difference to their lives. But yet, what would actually have really changed darts?
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's kind of two questions. What if Barney never came to the PDC and won 10 BDO world titles? Does he not get the credit that he now gets for coming over and winning the PDC world title? That's the game. The game is what if? What if? What if is another classic. What if Kirk Shepherd beats John Parr and becomes world champion as the biggest outsider to ever win the world championship? 3 years later, he lost his card and has never been seen since. Surely that doesn't happen if he's world champion.
If Kirk Shepherd wins the world championship, is he the original Luke Littler?
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. I don't know.
There's loads, isn't there? Like,
yeah, that's the game.
I think potentially one for me is, and it's always a hard one to say, to try and word right, because I'm not very good with this sort of thing. What if Corey Cadby didn't battle the demons of which he did?
That's a great one. That's a great one. Where would he be now? Yeah, that's a great
one. He would be
one.
A world champion. I tell you now, he'd be a world champion.
Class act.
The talent of that guy, I've seen him firsthand. I had an opportunity to practice with him on a regular basis. I saw a lot of him. I practiced with him a lot on Pro Tours, getting ready for things. He lived not too far away in Birmingham. I had a lifestyle that was never sustainable to a professional life, and lost those battles, made wrong decisions, didn't live the lifestyle of a professional. Had he had one-to-one support and management and things, and this isn't a knock on the management he had at all, but there's some people that can work in a group of players. There's some people that need one-to-one. They need to feel special. They need it to be just them. Just everything's you. We're going to get you ready. It's all about you. It's on your time. I think he needed that, and he needed a father. Imagine right now if Glenn Durrant was a one-to-one manager and mentor for him. He would have made it, because he needs that father figure who's just going to guide him through the what. Don't do that. Do this. Do the do's and the don'ts, because he didn't make the decisions himself. And had he had that mentorship, I think he would be a multiple major champion now. He'd probably be a world champion. The talent he had, and I would dare say this, I'd say been around professionally for 11 years, commentated for a few as well. I've been around the professional circuit. I've seen everybody. I would say Corey's up there with the very best I've ever seen. Talent-wise.
Agree. I've got three more for you. I want your opinion. What if Dave Chisnell wins his first major final, I think 12 years ago? He's been, I think, in 8 finals and lost them all. What if he wins that first one? Does he win multiple?
I think that's always a flawed argument. I don't get that argument. I don't get the argument. Once he wins one, the floodgates are open. You know, that was also said about Michael Smith. Now he's outside the top 16, probably not going to be in the match. And he won the World Championship in the Grand Slam a few years ago. So where's the floodgates? So yeah, I think sometimes it actually adds more pressure to it. I see it all the time at Super Series. Someone wins a week and then they go, the second they've won it, I need to win another one so people know that I'm good enough to win. You've just won the week. You are good enough to win it. You don't need to win another one. But I think the problem is society works in a very negative way. And because of that, people feel that they need to constantly prove themselves. I wouldn't be surprised if Dave Chisnell slipped into that category of people that always needed one more. I need another one. I need another one. I need another.
All right, fair enough. 2 more. What if Bo Greaves wins the World Championship in December at the Ali Pali? What happens? She beats Luke Liller in the final. Does it change our sport forever?
No. I don't think it does. I don't think it does.
All right. Okay. And the last one. What if Matthew Edgar gets a tour card? Everybody wants to know the answer to that.
It won't happen.
Twice. What if?
The reason I say it won't happen is, as much as I said that I'm contemplating, or I probably am, most likely going to Q school. As it stands, I've got no intention of playing phase 2. I am going to play the first 3 days. If I get through, if I win a day, I have no intention right now playing phase 2. The reason for that is purely, if I play I cannot play a match and not be going for it 100%. And if I do that and I end up getting a tour card, I put myself in a world of trouble.
Yeah.
Me with a tour card, I'm in big trouble. It's gonna financially impact me greatly. It would reduce the opportunities I've got, and I've got some big stuff coming up in the next year, which I wouldn't then be able to go and do. So it would impact me massively.
And you're going to get a lot of comments going, come on, Matt, you can do it. Just give it one more year. No, but anyway.
Let's put it this way. If I was to get a tour card, I would probably need maybe about 70,000.
Yeah, somebody to give you that
as a guarantee. So if you want to start a Just Giving page, guys, Edgar, to get his tour card, we need to raise 70 grand. Yeah, I'd probably take it. I estimate I'd take about a hit of about 70 grand from loss of earnings. Yeah,
it's not good. All right, let's wrap it up with you telling the viewers one more time, and listeners, what have they got to do to get on Rate My Throw?
Just email.
Yeah,
just email. That's all you got to do. YouTube Mission Darts.
Email us your video.
And if you are visual, we'll leave you with this.
Perfect. Looking forward to receiving the videos. Looking forward to sorting them through with you. Looking forward to that new series, Rate My Throw, starting soon. Thanks again, as always, guys, for watching and listening, and we'll catch you next week.